priorities? In the Christian faith, it is necessary to clearly define what comes first in a person's life. After all, in fact, everything is solved by this. What comes first in life? This is actually the difference between believers and religiously minded people, if we talk about the religious sphere. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. Matthew 10:37-39. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. You never know who is who and who is capable of what. The external form does not always reflect the internal content. Faith must be tested. And a very important point is what comes first in a person's life. Naturally, the question arises, where and in what circumstances does the life priority manifest itself? Is it necessary to give up everything for the sake of faith? Not at all. It's very important to figure this out. Put everything in its place. On this basis, many people get confused about their right attitude towards their Creator. Some people go to extremes, and some do not pay due attention to Christianity, thereby departing from faith in God. The golden mean and the priority of life. Once upon a time, in the Old Testament, before giving his people the promised land, God, through Joshua, gave instructions not to go either to the right or to the left. Be strong and of good courage, for to this people you shall divide as an inheritance the land which I swore to their fathers to give them. Only be strong and very courageous, that you may observe to do according to all the law which Moses my servant commanded you. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. Joshua 1:6-7. Do not turn from it to the right hand or to the left, that you may prosper wherever you go. A golden mean, but with a very important principle, a life priority. What comes first? A religious extreme can only be a screen for a person's true inner state. What is the motive for the pious display? Sometimes, the believer himself cannot really understand himself. Either this is a game, or some kind of inner self-affirmation, or searching for something personal. Question. On the other hand, extreme liberalism, that is, friendship with the sinful world, as a rule, leads a person to some kind of choice in his personal life. After all, pay attention to the words of Jesus Christ. He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. There is a logic to this. And the Lord very often, and almost always, checks a believer's loyalty and life priorities. Many people don't notice that. However, the question is very important. What comes first? God, serving Him, or material goods, money, family, work, hobbies, vices that are not so easy to get rid of? I repeat, this determines everything in the life of a believer. There are a lot of temptations around. But how personally are you ready to fight them? Or is he not ready at all? One day, a church minister was offered a good salary in his profession. A mundane profession. He's a teacher. To educate the child of rich parents, for normal money. But, a small but. He also had to work on Sunday, when the service was held in the church and where he was serving. An alternative has emerged. Serving God or making a good living. The person chose earnings. The choice is made. Accordingly, the result. Satan dragged man back into the swamp of problems and sin. Nothing goes unnoticed. What a man sows, he will reap. A similar situation arose with another person who went to church in the Soviet era, during the time of militant atheism. They gave him an ultimatum at the institute, God or education. And he chose education. Man is forever lost in a sinful world. And as Christ said, he who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it. How many people have been seduced by the false charms of the sinful world? And how many people have deviated from the ways of God, preferring worldly riches and earthly well-being? Sometimes, many people keep faith in God, so to speak, just in case it may come in handy or succumbing to a common religious impulse, but they live by completely different values, ideals and interests. God checks everyone, often unnoticeably for the person himself. But I emphasize that nothing goes unnoticed. Everything will be answered for some time, in one form or another. Everything needs to be given proper attention with the right, vital priority. The Lord does not require his followers to be ascetics, to renounce everything, to deprive themselves of all benefits. Not at all. I emphasize that priority is important. Pavel wrote the following: "All things are lawful to me, but not all things are profitable. All things are lawful to me, but nothing should possess me." 1 Corinthians 6:12. Everything is permissible to me, but not everything is useful. Everything is permissible to me, but nothing should possess me. An important principle of a believer in God. Christ never taught asceticism. And he does not require his students to become fanatics who are ready to kill and show violence towards other people. It's important to put everything right in its place. First God, his service, then everything else. That is why, in the law of Moses, everything that is firstborn belongs to God. It is the original. But the firstborn of a cow, the firstborn of a sheep, or the firstborn of a goat you shall not redeem, they are holy. You shall sprinkle their blood on the altar, and burn their fat as an offering made by fire for a sweet aroma to the Lord. Numbers 18:17. And more. All the firstborn males that come from your herd and your flock you shall sanctify to the Lord your God. You shall do no work with the firstborn of your herd, nor shear the firstborn of your flock. Deuteronomy 15:19. The original is the very first. Psychologically, this is a very important point. It would seem, what's the difference? However, no. The first belongs to God. And this is natural. In our current understanding, God comes first, and everything else comes second, third, and so on. There is no need to give up all, say, the benefits of civilization, but it is imperative to put everything right in its place. Priority? How and where to show it? Let's just say that Caesar, that is, this world, should be given what belongs to him: work, debt, taxes, hobbies and so on, and God should be given God's best: time, strength, abilities, service. As, again, Christ said, "Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's." But to God, the first thing. Jesus answered and said to them, "Give what is Caesar's to Caesar, and what is God's to God." And they marveled at him. Mark 12:17. Give to Caesar what is Caesar's, and to God what is God's. But to God, the first thing. What does it mean to give God what is God's? And this is time, abilities, strength, and, of course, service. What God has set you up for. I would like to remind you that all those who have reconciled with their Creator are priests according to the order of Melchizedek, where Christ himself is the high priest. Universal priesthood. Here, to whom what is given and to whom what is entrusted. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this. When a person receives the Holy Spirit, he receives gifts from him, from the Holy Spirit. And as the Holy Scriptures say, to whom much is entrusted, much will be asked. And that servant who knew his master's will, and did not prepare himself or do according to his will, shall be beaten with many stripes. But he who did not know, yet committed things deserving of stripes, shall be beaten with few. For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more. Luke 12:47-48. For everyone to whom much is given, from him much will be required, and to whom much has been committed, of him they will ask the more. Don't take on more than you can handle. Like the manna that God gave to the Israelites in the desert. Everyone took as much as they could eat. The excess rotted and worms appeared. Take as much as you need. But if God gives, then take it and don't refuse. Any service, any work for the glory of God. And that should come first in your life. This is where the priority comes in. It's strange sometimes to see how someone is happy to buy expensive things for themselves or waste time on empty and stupid activities. At the same time, they do not particularly bother to serve God, they do not sacrifice for the cause of God, they do not attend divine services, they do not take care of those in need, they do not visit the sick and infirm, they do not do any work, but at the same time, they consider themselves believers. It is very important to set life priorities correctly in your life, know the right time for everything, and pay proper attention to everything. Putting God's in the first place. Otherwise, there will be trouble. You can lose everything. Be blessed.